The fever started on Aria's 15th birthday, not the gentle kind that came with a cold, but the bone-deep burning that made her skin feel like it was on fire from the inside out. Her mother, Patricia, the woman who'd raised her since she was a baby, stood in the doorway of her bedroom with a glass of water and 2 white pills. "Take these, sweetheart," Patricia said, her voice syrupy sweet in that way that always made Aria's stomach twist. "They'll help with the pain." Aria knew better than to refuse. She'd learned that lesson early. Take the medicine. Don't ask questions. Be grateful for the roof over her head and the food on the table. Be the perfect, obedient daughter who never caused trouble. She swallowed the pills and felt the familiar numbness spread through her limbs within minutes. The fever didn't break, but the pain dulled. Everything dulled. It had been like this every year since she turned 13. Fevers that came out of nowhere. Pills that made her sleep for days. And Patricia watching her with those cold, calculating eyes. "Rest now," Patricia said, already backing toward the door. "Your father and I have some errands to run. We'll be back tomorrow." Tomorrow? They always left on her birthday. Every single year. And Aria always woke up days later with gaps in her memory and bruises she couldn't explain. But this year felt different. This year, the pills weren't working as well. The numbness was there, but underneath it, something else stirred. Something vast and angry and absolutely furious at being trapped. Aria waited until she heard the front door close, heard the car pull away. Then she forced herself out of bed on shaking legs and stumbled to the bathroom. She needed water. Real water, not whatever Patricia had brought. She barely made it to the sink before her reflection stopped her cold. Her eyes were glowing. Not reflecting light, not bloodshot from fever, actually glowing. Pale gold, like candlelight trapped behind amber. "What the hell?" The whisper came out strangled. The glow intensified, and Aria felt something inside her chest crack. Not break, crack, like ice splitting under pressure. And through that crack came a voice that definitely wasn't hers. "They're poisoning you." Aria grabbed the sink to keep from falling. "I'm hallucinating. This is just the fever. I'm not hallucinating. Not human. And definitely being poisoned." The voice was female, furious, and somehow felt like it was part of her. Like it had always been there, just buried too deep to reach. "I'm your wolf, and I'm done being silent." "My what?" Aria's voice rose. "I don't have a wolves aren't real. I'm human. You're a shifter. Royal bloodline. Stolen as an infant. And those people you call parents? They're the ones who took you." The voice her wolf snarled. "Now get those pills out of your system before they come back and dose you again." Aria's hands were shaking as she shoved her fingers down her throat. She vomited into the toilet, again and again, until she was bringing up nothing but bile and pieces of white pills that hadn't fully dissolved. Her wolf was right. They'd been giving her something. Something that kept her weak and compliant and absolutely human. When the vomiting finally stopped, Aria collapsed against the bathroom wall and felt her wolf surge closer to the surface. Felt power flood through her veins for the first time in her conscious memory. Felt everything sharpen her sight, her hearing, her sense of smell. She could smell the lies in this house. Could smell the fear Patricia tried to hide with perfume. Could smell silver and wolfsbane mixed into the dust under her bed. "They've been drugging me my whole life," Aria whispered. "Since you were 6 months old." The wolf's voice was savage. "Suppressants in your food, wolfsbane in the air vents, silver dust in your clothes. Everything designed to keep me buried, keep you weak, keep you from remembering who you really are." Who am I? I don't know yet. They took those memories too. But I know we're powerful. I know we're royal. And I know we need to get out of this house before they come back and put us under again. Aria's mind was racing. 15 years of her life. 15 years of being told she was Patricia and Richard's miracle baby. The daughter they'd adopted after years of trying for children. The human girl they loved so much. All lies. She stumbled to her bedroom and started throwing things into a backpack. Clothes, her savings from babysitting jobs, the phone Patricia monitored but let her keep for emergencies. She needed to leave, needed to run, needed to. The front door opened downstairs. Aria froze. They weren't supposed to be back until tomorrow, unless they knew. Unless somehow they'd figured out she'd rejected the pills. Aria, Patricia's voice drifted up the stairs, still sweet, still false. Sweetheart, are you awake? Don't answer, her wolf commanded. Don't let them know you're conscious. Aria dropped to her bed and forced her body to go limp, forced her breathing to slow, forced herself to play the part she'd been playing her entire life, weak, obedient, human. Footsteps on the stairs, the bedroom door opening, Patricia's perfume, so strong it made Aria's newly sensitive nose burn. She's still out, Patricia said. Richard must have been right behind her. Good. The new suppressant is working better than the last batch. We need to increase the dosage. Richard's voice was clinical, detached. Nothing like the warm father figure he played when Aria was conscious. She's getting stronger. The alpha heritage is trying to break through. She's 15. Patricia sounded frustrated. We knew puberty would be difficult, but this is worse than anticipated. Maybe we should just know. Richard's voice turned hard. We've invested too much. 15 years of suppressants, 15 years of hiding her, 15 years of blocking every search party. We're not giving up now. Search parties. Someone had been looking for her. Someone had cared enough to search. The Bloodmoon Pack is offering a massive reward, Patricia said quietly. $2 million for information leading to the lost princess. They're desperate, Richard, and we're running out of suppressant supplies. The black market dealers are getting suspicious, then we'll move. Change names again. Take her somewhere even more remote. Richard's footsteps moved closer to the bed. Aria felt his hand brush her hair, and it took everything in her not to flinch. She's worth more than $2 million. Once she comes of age, once her power fully manifests, we can sell her to the highest bidder. Breeding stock for a powerful alpha, a political prisoner, a magical battery. The possibilities are endless. Aria's wolf roared inside her chest, but Aria kept her body still, kept playing dead, kept listening. She trusts us, Patricia said, and there was something almost like guilt in her voice. She calls us mom and dad. Don't you ever feel what? Remorse for kidnapping a 6-month-old? Richard laughed, cold and sharp. She's not our daughter, Patricia. She's an investment, a commodity, and in 3 more years, we'll cash in and retire to somewhere warm and far away from werewolf politics. They left the room. Aria waited until she heard them go downstairs, heard the TV turn on, heard their normal evening routine begin. Then she opened her eyes and met her wolf's presence head-on. We run, the wolf said simply. Now, before they drug us again. Where do we go? Anywhere but here. And then we find the Bloodmoon Pack. We find our real family. Aria grabbed her backpack and moved to the window. Her bedroom was on the 2nd floor, but her newly awakened senses told her the drop wouldn't hurt, wouldn't even slow her down. She climbed out, hung from the windowsill for a heartbeat, and dropped, landed in a crouch that felt instinctive, natural. Then she ran. Behind her, she heard Richard shout, heard Patricia scream, heard them realize their investment had just escaped. But Aria was already gone, disappearing into the woods behind the house with her wolf guiding every step. The first 3 days were hell. Aria had no idea how to survive in the wilderness. Her wolf helped guided her to water, to shelter, away from roads where Patricia and Richard might search. But Aria was still human enough to need food, warmth, rest. And she had no idea where to find the Bloodmoon Pack. On the 4th day, exhausted and starving, she stumbled into a small town and used her babysitting money to buy a cheap burner phone. She searched Bloodmoon Pack and found nothing. Searched Werewolf Pack near me and got conspiracy theories and fantasy forums. She was about to give up when she found a news article from 15 years ago. Bloodmoon Packer stolen in daring raid Princess Aria Moonborn missing, presumed dead. Aria's hands shook as she read. The article described a brutal attack on the Bloodmoon Pack. Rogues and mercenaries working together. They'd killed guards, set fires, and in the chaos, stolen the Alpha's infant daughter. Her name was Aria. She had pale blonde hair and gold eyes. She'd been 6 months old. the same age Patricia and Richard claimed they'd adopted their daughter. There was a photo Alpha King Kieran Moonborn and his Luna, Elise, holding a baby wrapped in silver blankets. Both parents looked devastated. The article said they'd never stopped searching, never stopped hoping, never declared their daughter dead despite 15 years of silence. Aria stared at the photo until her vision blurred. That baby was her. Those devastated parents were hers. And Patricia and Richard had stolen her from them. The article mentioned the Bloodmoon Pack's location, a territory in the northern mountains, about 200 miles from where Aria was now. She had no car, no money for a bus, and no idea how to get there. But she had a wolf now, and her wolf knew how to run. It took her a week, 7 days of running through forests, sleeping in caves, stealing food from campsites when she had to. Her wolf grew stronger every day, feeding on the exercise and freedom. By day 5, Aria could feel the shift trying to happen, her bones wanting to reshape, her senses wanting to sharpen further. But something was blocking it. Some last remnant of the suppressants in her system, keeping her trapped between human and wolf. It doesn't matter, her wolf said. We're strong enough. We'll make it. On the 8th day, Aria crested a mountain ridge and saw it. A valley below, filled with buildings that looked like they'd grown from the forest itself. Wolves, actual wolves and shifters in human form moving through the settlement with purpose. And at the center, a massive pack house that seemed to pulse with power. The Bloodmoon Pack. Aria started down the mountain, her heart hammering. She'd made it. After 8 days of running, she'd actually made it. She was halfway down when the patrols found her. 3 wolves materialized from the trees, all of them massive, all of them clearly trained warriors. They circled her with military precision, and the largest, a black wolf with silver markings, shifted into a man who looked like he could break her in half without trying. Who are you? His voice was pure command. State your name and business. Aria's voice cracked. My name is Aria. I think I'm looking for my family. The warrior's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Aria's a common name. What makes you think your family is here? Because 15 years ago, someone stole the Bloodmoon Pack's princess, and I just found out my adopted parents are actually my kidnappers. The words tumbled out in a rush. I'm Aria Moonborn, or at least, I think I am. I have gold eyes and blonde hair, and I've been drugged with suppressants my entire life, and I need to know if I'm right, if they're my real parents, if I actually belong somewhere. The warrior stared at her for a long moment. Then he pulled out a radio. Beta Cade to Alpha Kieran. You need to come to the northern border. Immediately. What's happening? A voice crackled through, deep and powerful. Someone's here claiming to be your daughter, sir. Silence. Then, I'm on my way. Keep her there. Don't let her leave. They didn't have to keep her there. Aria wasn't going anywhere. She sat on a fallen log and waited, her whole body trembling with exhaustion and fear and desperate hope. The Alpha arrived in less than 10 minutes. Aria heard him before she saw him, the sound of a massive wolf running at full speed, crashing through undergrowth with single-minded determination. Then he was there, shifting mid-stride into a man who looked like he'd been carved from stone and storm clouds. Alpha King Kieran Moonborn was enormous, 6.5 feet of solid muscle, with dark hair streaked with silver and eyes that glowed the same pale gold as Aria's. He stared at her like he'd seen a ghost. Aria, the name came out broken. Is it really you? I don't know. Aria stood on shaking legs. I think so. I hope so. But I've been lied to my entire life, so I don't know what's real anymore. Kieran moved closer, and Aria saw tears streaming down his face. This massive, powerful Alpha was crying openly, making no attempt to hide it. You have her eyes, he whispered. Elisa's eyes. And her hair. And his voice broke. You're so grown. You're 15. You should still be a baby. I should have been there. Should have protected you. Should have. Are you my father? The question came out small. I think so. Goddess, I think so. Kieran's hands were shaking. But we'll know for certain. Blood test. DNA comparison. We kept samples from when you were a baby, hoping he stopped, swallowed hard. We never stopped hoping we'd find you. 20 minutes later, Aria was in the pack's medical center with a needle in her arm and her maybe father pacing like a caged animal. The pack doctor, a calm woman named Claire, drew blood with gentle efficiency. The test will take about an hour, Claire said. But Alpha, I can already tell you her scent matches the samples we have on file. Her bone structure matches the infant photos. And look at her eyes, she gestured to Aria. Those are moonborn eyes. No question, an hour, Kieran repeated. He looked at Aria. Will you tell me what happened? Where you've been? Aria told him everything. The people she'd called parents, the suppressants, the fevers, the conversation she'd overheard about being sold, the week of running to find her way home. By the time she finished, Kieran's eyes were blazing gold and power was crackling around him like lightning. Their names, he said, his voice barely controlled. Give me their names and location, Patricia and Richard Cole. At least, that's what they call themselves now. Aria rattled off the address. But they're probably gone by now. They knew I escaped. They won't get far. Kieran pulled out his phone and made a call. Cade, I need teams mobilized. I'm sending you coordinates. Find to humans Patricia and Richard Cole. They're the ones who took my daughter. I want them alive and in my dungeon within 24 hours. He paused. And Cade? Tell the teams they're authorized to use any means necessary. I don't care about collateral damage. He hung up and turned back to Aria. I'm sorry. I'm probably scaring you. I'm trying to hold it together, but you're not scaring me. Aria's voice was quiet. You're the first person who's looked at me and seen something worth protecting instead of something to use. Kieran made a sound like he'd been punched. You deserved so much better. You deserved to grow up here, safe and loved and knowing exactly who you were. He moved closer but didn't touch her, like he was afraid she might break. I'm so sorry we didn't find you sooner. It's not your fault, it is. I'm the Alpha. I should have torn apart the world looking for you. Should have Alpha, Clara interrupted gently. The test results are ready. The room went silent. Aria's heart stopped. This was it. The moment she'd find out for certain if she belonged or if she was just a desperate girl grasping at hope. Claire pulled up results on her computer and smiled. 99.9% match. She's yours, Alpha. She's definitely yours. Kieran's knees actually buckled. He caught himself on the exam table, and when he looked up at Aria, his expression was pure, devastating joy. You're my daughter, he whispered. You're really my daughter. You're home. And then this massive, terrifying Alpha King was hugging her. Actually hugging her, like she might disappear if he let go. Aria felt something inside her chest crack open. 15 years of loneliness and fear and not quite belonging. She wrapped her arms around him and let herself cry. She was home. She was really, finally home. The next few hours were overwhelming. Kieran took her to the pack house and introduced her to what felt like hundreds of wolves. Her mother Luna Elise arrived within an hour, took one look at Aria, and collapsed crying. She was beautiful, with the same blonde hair and gold eyes as Aria, and she held her daughter like she'd never let go. My baby, Elise kept whispering. My baby girl. You came home. You actually came home. Aria met her older brother, Zane, who was 17 and looked like a younger version of Kieran. He didn't say much, just pulled her into a hug that lifted her off her feet and said, I've been waiting 15 years to meet you. Don't you dare disappear again. She met pack members who remembered her as a baby, wolves who'd been part of the search parties, warriors who'd blamed themselves for not protecting her better, all of them looking at her with joy and relief and welcome. It should have felt perfect, but Aria couldn't shake the feeling that she didn't belong. These people knew the princess who'd been stolen, the powerful alpha heir who should have grown up leading this pack. Aria was just a human girl who'd been raised by kidnappers and didn't even know how to shift. You're thinking too loud. Kieran's voice made her jump. She was on the balcony outside the bedroom. They'd given her a massive suite that felt like something from a palace. He leaned against the railing beside her. Want to tell me what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everyone's been so nice, but you don't feel like you fit. It wasn't a question. You feel like an imposter in your own life. Aria nodded, not trusting her voice. That's normal. You've been through hell, had your identity stolen, raised to believe you were someone else entirely. Kieran's voice was gentle. It's going to take time to adjust, to feel like this is real, like you belong here. What if I can't adjust? What if I'm too broken? Then we'll help you unbreak. Kieran put his arm around her shoulders. That's what family does. We show up, we stay, we help each other heal. He paused. And for the record, you're not broken. You survived 15 years of abuse and suppression. You found your way home with nothing but determination and hope. That's not broken. That's incredibly strong. I can't even shift yet. You can't shift yet. The suppressants are still in your system. Claire says it'll take a few more weeks for them to fully clear. Kieran smiled slightly. And when they do, I'll teach you myself. Just like I would have if you'd been here all along. Aria leaned into him, and Kieran tightened his arm around her. For the first time in her life, she felt safe, protected, like someone actually cared if she lived or died. There's something else you should know, Kieran said carefully. The people who took you, Patricia and Richard, we found them. They're in our custody. Aria's stomach dropped. Already, my warriors are very motivated when it comes to protecting Pack, especially when it comes to finding the people who stole our princess. Kieran's voice turned hard. They were trying to flee the country, had new passports, new identities, a dozen offshore accounts. They'd been planning to run for a while. What happens to them now? That's up to you. Kieran met her eyes. Pack law says you're the injured party. You get to decide their punishment. Execution, exile, prison, whatever you want, we'll do it. Aria thought about Patricia's false smiles. Richard's clinical detachment. 15 years of pills and lies and being treated like property instead of a person. I want to see them, she said quietly. I want them to know they failed, that I'm not their investment anymore, that I'm free. Are you sure? You don't have to face them. I need to. Aria's voice was stronger now. I need them to see what they tried to destroy, and I need to see that they can't hurt me anymore. Kieran studied her face for a long moment. Then he nodded. Tomorrow, after you've rested, I'll be with you the entire time. Thank you. Don't thank me. Protecting you is my job. It's what I should have been doing all along. Kieran pressed a kiss to her forehead. Get some sleep, sweetheart. Tomorrow's going to be hard. The dungeons beneath the pack house were clean but unforgiving. Silver bars, stone walls, no windows. Patricia and Richard sat in separate cells, and when Aria entered with Kieran at her side, they both looked up. Patricia's face crumpled. Aria, oh, thank God. Tell them this is all a mistake. Tell them we're your parents. Tell them you're not my parents. Aria's voice was steady. You're kidnappers, abusers, people who drugged a child for 15 years because you wanted to sell her like livestock. We raised you, Richard shouted, fed you, clothed you, kept you safe. You poisoned me. Aria stepped closer to the bars. Every pill, every injection, every special meal poison designed to keep my wolf buried. Keep me weak. Keep me from being who I really am. We were protecting you from yourself. Patricia's voice rose. Your power would have destroyed you. We kept you safe. We loved you. You loved the money you were going to make selling me. Aria felt her wolf surge closer, felt power crackling under her skin. I heard you. That night, when you thought I was unconscious, you talked about selling me to the highest bidder, about breeding stock and political prisoners and magical batteries. Patricia went pale. Richard's face hardened. So what? He said coldly. You were born to be used. That's what royal bloodlines are, tools for political power. We just decided to profit from it ourselves instead of letting your precious alpha parents trade you off to strengthen alliances. Is that what you tell yourself? Kieran's voice was deadly quiet. He'd stayed silent until now, but his presence filled the space with barely leashed violence. That you were somehow noble? Saving her from pack politics? We gave her a normal life, you gave her a prison. Kieran's eyes blazed gold. You stole 15 years of her childhood. 15 years of family pack belonging. 15 years of knowing who she was and being loved for it. He moved closer to Richard's cell. And you did it for money, not ideology, not protection. Money? What are you going to do to us? Patricia whispered. Kieran looked at Aria. That's up to her. She's the one you wronged. She's the one who decides. Aria stared at these people who'd raised her, who'd tucked her in at night while dosing her with suppressants, who'd celebrated her birthdays while planning to sell her, who'd played parents while being her jailers. I want them exiled, she said quietly, stripped of all the money they stole, all their fake identities exposed. I want them to lose everything the way they tried to make me lose myself. She met Patricia's eyes. And I want them to know they failed, that I found my way home, that I'm going to grow up to be exactly what you tried to prevent, powerful, free, and surrounded by people who actually love me. That's not fair, Patricia started. Fair? Aria's wolf snarled, and for a moment her eyes blazed gold. You drugged me for 15 years and you want to talk about fair? The sentence is exile, Kieran announced, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. You'll be stripped of all assets, marked as criminals, and released at our border. If either of you ever sets foot in pack territory again, the sentence becomes execution. No trial, no second chances. You can't. Richard lunged at the bars. I'm the Alpha King. I can do whatever I want. Kieran's smile was all teeth. And I'm being merciful because my daughter asked me to be. If it were up to me, you'd both be dead already. They removed Patricia and Richard from the cells and dragged them away, still protesting. Aria watched them go and felt something lift from her chest. They were gone. Really, finally gone. They couldn't hurt her anymore. How do you feel? Kieran asked quietly. Free, Aria smiled, and it felt genuine. For the first time in my life, I actually feel free. Good. Kieran put his arm around her shoulders. Because that's what you deserve. Freedom and safety and a life that's actually yours. The next 3 weeks were transformative. The suppressants cleared from Aria's system, and her power surged forward with a vengeance. She shifted for the first time surrounded by her family, and her wolf was magnificent pale gold with silver markings, bigger than most females, radiating alpha power. Kieran taught her to control the shift. Elise taught her pack politics and diplomacy. Zane taught her to fight, sparring with her daily until she could actually hold her own. The pack welcomed her with open arms, treating her like the princess she'd been born to be. But there were hard moments too. Nightmares about being drugged again. Panic attacks when people stood too close. Days when Aria woke up convinced it was all a dream and she was still in Patricia's house. Kieran was there for all of it. Patient, steady, never pushing but always present. He taught her that healing wasn't linear, that it was okay to have bad days, that being strong didn't mean pretending to be okay. You're doing better than you think, he said one night when Aria broke down crying after a nightmare. 3 weeks ago you were running through the woods alone and terrified. Now you're shifting, training, bonding with pack. That's incredible progress. I still feel broken sometimes. That's because you were broken. Deliberately, systematically, Kieran held her close. But breaking doesn't mean you can't heal. It just means healing takes time. What if I never fully heal? Then we'll love you anyway. Broken pieces and all, Kieran smiled. That's what unconditional means. It doesn't depend on you being perfect or whole or easy. It just is. Aria leaned into him and let herself believe it. On the 1-month anniversary of her return, the pack threw a proper welcome ceremony. Hundreds of wolves from allied packs came to witness the lost princess's homecoming. Aria stood in traditional ceremonial robes, her family at her side, and formally accepted her place in the pack. Do you, Aria Moonborn, accept your birthright as princess of the Bloodmoon Pack? The pack elder asked. I do. Do you swear to protect this pack with your life, to honor its bonds, to serve its members with wisdom and strength? I do. Then by the power of the moon goddess and the will of your pack, I recognize you as Princess Aria Moonborn. May your return bring prosperity and strength to us all, the pack howled. The sound was deafening, joyful, welcoming. Aria felt it resonate in her chest, felt the pack bond snap into place, connecting her to every wolf present. She was one of them now. Truly, completely one of them. When the ceremony ended, a young man approached her. He was maybe 18, with dark hair and striking blue eyes that seemed to look right through her. Princess Aria, he bowed formally. I'm Damien, from the Silver Pine Pack. I'm here with my alpha as a representative. It's nice to meet you. Aria shook his hand and felt something spark. Not unpleasant, but intense. Electric. Damien's eyes widened. Did you feel that? What was that? The mate bond. Damien's voice was quiet. I've been looking for my mate for 3 years. Never thought I'd find her at a ceremony celebrating someone else. Aria's heart stopped. Mate bond. She'd heard about them, the moon goddess's way of pairing wolves. Perfect matches. Destined partners. Forever. Are you sure? She asked. Completely. Damien smiled, and it transformed his serious face into something warm. Are you okay with this? I know you've been through a lot. If you need time, I need time, Aria said quickly. Too quickly. I'm sorry. I only just got my life back. I don't know if I'm ready for. I understand. Damien's expression was kind. Take all the time you need. I've waited 3 years. I can wait longer. He squeezed her hand gently. But I'm here, whenever you're ready. He left, and Aria stood there feeling dizzy. A mate. She had a mate. The moon goddess had given her a perfect match. So why did she feel terrified instead of happy? Saw you meet young Damien, Kieran said, appearing at her elbow. He's a good kid, honorable, strong. His pack speaks highly of him. He's my mate. The words felt strange. Apparently, I know. I could smell it from across the room. Kieran studied her face. You don't look happy about it. I don't know what I am about it. Aria sighed. A month ago I thought I was human. Now I'm a princess with a pack and a family and apparently a destined mate. It's too much to fast. Then tell him you need time. Real time. Months or even years. Kieran's voice was firm. You just got free, Aria. Don't let anyone, even a well-meaning mate, pressure you into something you're not ready for. What if he gets tired of waiting? Then he's not worthy of you. Kieran put his hand on her shoulder. The right mate will wait. We'll give you space to heal. We'll let you come to them when you're ready, not before. He paused. And if he doesn't, I'll handle it. Despite everything, Aria smiled. You threaten my mate? Without hesitation. You're my daughter first, his mate second. Your well-being comes before anyone's convenience. Kieran grinned. That's what dads do. We're scary and overprotective and willing to commit violence for our kids. I think I like having a dad. Good. Because you're stuck with me now. Kieran pulled her into a hug. Forever, whether you like it or not. Aria hugged him back and felt that familiar sense of rightness. This was her father. This was her family. This was home. Everything else could wait. She spent the next 6 months focusing on herself, training with Zane until she could fight like a proper warrior, learning pack law with Elise until she could recite treaties in her sleep, working with the pack's youth program, helping younger wolves learn control. Damien kept his promise. He visited occasionally, always respectful, never pushing. They talked, got to know each other as people instead of just mates. Aria learned he was studying to be a pack doctor, that he loved old books and terrible action movies, that he had 3 younger siblings he adored, and slowly, carefully, she started to trust him. I think I'm ready, she told Kieran one night, 6 months after the ceremony, to actually give the mate bond a real chance. Kieran looked up from the reports he was reviewing. Are you sure? There's no rush, I'm sure. Damien's been patient and kind and he's never once made me feel pressured. Aria smiled. I think I might actually like him. As a person, not just as a mate bond. That's the most important part. Kieran set down his papers. The moon goddess pairs compatible wolves. But real love, that's something you build through trust and time and choosing each other every day. Is that what you and Mom have? That's exactly what we have. The bond brought us together, but we chose to stay together. Through good days and bad, through easy times and hard, Kieran's expression softened. And we chose to keep fighting for you, even when everyone said you were dead, even when it seemed hopeless. We chose hope. I'm glad you did, Aria hugged him. I'm really, really glad. The official mate ceremony was 3 months later. Aria wore traditional ceremonial robes in silver and gold, her family at her side, her pack surrounding her with love and support. Damien stood across from her looking nervous and happy and absolutely certain. I've waited for you, he said during the vows. Not just for the last year, but my whole life. And I'll keep waiting, keep choosing you, keep loving you for the rest of our lives. I was lost for 15 years, Aria replied, her voice steady. Stolen from myself and everyone who loved me. You're helping me find my way back, helping me believe I deserve good things, helping me heal, she smiled. And I choose you. Today and every day after, they completed the mate bond with the traditional bite, and Aria felt it snap into place fully, felt Damien's soul intertwine with hers, felt love and loyalty and absolute devotion flowing through the connection. She was home, she was whole, she was free, and she was never, ever going back. 2 years later, Aria stood in the Pack's medical center with her mother holding one hand and Damien holding the other. She was in labor, bringing new life into the world, and she was terrified and excited in equal measure. You're doing great, Claire said encouragingly. Almost there. One more push, Aria pushed, and the world exploded in pain and relief and overwhelming joy. A baby's cry filled the room, strong and healthy and absolutely perfect. It's a girl, Claire announced, placing the infant on Aria's chest. A beautiful, healthy girl. Aria looked down at her daughter, tiny and red-faced and crying, and felt her heart crack open. This was her child, her daughter, and she would never, ever let anyone hurt her the way Aria had been hurt. She's perfect, Damien whispered, his eyes wet. She's absolutely perfect. What are you going to name her? Elise asked, smiling through tears. Aria looked at her daughter, at this tiny person who represented everything good about her new life. Looked at her mate and her mother and the pack that had welcomed her home. Looked at her father standing in the doorway with tears streaming down his face. Hope, she said quietly. Her name is Hope because that's what her parents had held onto for 15 years. Hope that they'd find her. Hope that she was alive. Hope that she'd come home. And that hope had saved her life. Kieran stepped into the room and looked at his granddaughter with an expression of pure wonder. She's beautiful, just like her mother. Want to hold her? Aria offered. Kieran took the baby with practiced ease, cradling her like she was made of spun glass. Hello, Hope. I'm your grandfather, and I promise you no one will ever steal you. No one will ever hurt you. You're going to grow up safe and loved and knowing exactly who you are. The baby yawned, tiny and content. She believes you, Aria said softly. Good, Kieran smiled down at his granddaughter. Because I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Aria watched her father with her daughter and felt the last piece of her broken heart click into place. She'd spent 15 years thinking she was human, thinking she was alone, thinking she was nothing. Now she knew the truth. She was Aria Moonborn, princess of the Bloodmoon Pack, daughter, mate, mother, and she was exactly where she was meant to be. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Where are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. I love hearing your thoughts. And if you'd like to support me, please subscribe. It's free and it helps more people hear these stories.